But when is lecture supposed to start officially?
It's supposed to start next week, Monday.
Next week, Monday. And at this time, when we're not even sure what's the way forward is with the strike, that means that you could go another week, 2 weeks without your lectures. This has happened before. And let me just get everybody else on board. Hi, what's your name?
My name is Pamela Miseyu Ambia.
Okay, what's your role aside being a rescue team member?
Okay, my department, I'm the General Secretary and I'm the interim JCR President for Ivandi Hostel.
Okay. Department, which departments are you?
Public Administration and Health Service.
Okay, so for you, I mean, I remember that last semester, sometime in August, UTAG went on strike. That also lasted for a number of weeks, about 3 weeks or so. How did that impact teaching and learning?
It really affected us, we the students and the lecturers, because we have an academic calendar that we follow. But due to the strike, it made learning and teaching become difficult for us, and we students were frustrated because the courses we are doing is not easy. So it had to move to different dates and it made everything bad for us.
Was that right at the beginning of the semester, or you had started lectures and then they embarked?
We had started.
Okay, so they had started teaching and then they embarked on the strike. So how did you complete the semester?
We finished by God's grace. By the time we're supposed to end the semester, it had to, yes.
It prolonged. By how many more weeks?
By 2 or 3 weeks, yeah.
Okay, so how are you all studying? Good morning. You are Abraham Lincoln. Yes. Okay, the Abraham Lincoln, by the way, and he's an aspiring SRC president. Okay, so all the best with that. But how did that impact you last semester? And I just want to juxtapose that to what is happening at the moment.
Okay, I'll start by saying that when elephants fight, the grass get destroyed.
He has started his campaign already.
And the elephants here in question is the lecturers and then or the UTAC and government, and the grass here is the students. So we are suffering. We the students are suffering, and we beg of the government to sit on a roundtable discussion as they did early on, and then they come to a consensus to see the way forward. Because the lecturers are demanding, or UTAC is demanding what is due them. So if that is so, it shouldn't be at the expense of the students, because ordinarily we've paid fees and then the academic calendar has started. Level 100s are in, and the first thing they are meeting is strike. So it doesn't really speak well of the whole people or the stakeholders.
But it won't be the first time.
It's not the first time,
Exactly.
but it's not the first time, but they are going to be the first to, like, you came to school and then the first thing you are meeting is strike and you are getting stranded. Already accommodation issues and all that. So we beg of the government to, settle what is due the lecturers.
We'll come to that conversation. But again, going back to last semester, so the strike lasted for what, 3 weeks?
Yeah, it lasted for 3 weeks.
So at that time, how were you studying? How did you catch up? Because earlier when we were talking, you told me that it even affected your exam calendar and all.
That is true. The lecturers, at the beginning of every semester, they give course outlines. So based on the course outline and then the schedule for the course, you have what to study. That is it.
So, okay, let me bring someone in. Anybody who can expatiate on this for me. Hi, good morning. So what's your name?
My name is Good morning, please. My name is Emmanuel Ponsa.
What's your role as well?
I'm in level 200, just a part of the publicity committee for the SRC.
I see. So were you the one who was telling me about how graduation and everything was affected? But I asked you and you weren't saying it. But anyway, you can still tell us about it. You were still on campus at that time, right?
Yes, please.
Okay, so tell me how that impacted students and, the teaching calendar throughout that semester.
Myself, I'm an engineering student. In fact, it really affected us because you see how engineering is. You need a lot of assistance from the teachers in order to complete your syllabus. But here's the case that due to the strike, even our examination delayed, and it affected some of us because some of us, we are from far places that we need to complete everything fast so that you can go and work things out in order to even get money to come back and pay our school fees.
So you stayed on campus for 3 more weeks?
Yeah, it was additional 3 more weeks for us to stay on campus, which some of us find it difficult to even get money to buy food and eat.
Wow. So that whole period, who did you have the TAs to even run you through the rest of the courses or anything?
You see, the TAs are just to come and assist or come and help us when the lecturers are not around. Here's the case that the lecturers are not coming to teach us. So what is the TA coming to do in the class? Definitely they are not coming to do anything. So you come to class, nobody will come there. You'll be there chatting with your friends. So some of us, we formed some small study groups which assisted us in studying.
Wow. So, I mean, with the handouts and everything, usually they'll give you the handouts ahead. But sometimes they give the handouts as you move along, right? So those ones, how did you get access to them?
Okay, well, when there was a strike, but then it was It was the system for hundreds and 400s, and I was in 300 by then. Yes.
So it didn't really affect.
No, we were home.
Oh, you were home at that time. Ah, yeah. So you were here. Oh, I get it now. Okay, but
We were running a double track system at the time. Yes.
okay.
So hundreds and 400s came to school, and then when they vacated, 200s and 300s came to school. But there were exceptions to the law students and the medical students.
See. Okay, let me bring this gentleman in as well. Hi, good morning. Please come forward. Your name and your position, all that.
I'm Joseph Apiadankwa. I'm the president for Chinese Student Association of Ghana. Yeah, ni hao. Yeah.
What I said, did that even make sense?
It didn't make sense, but I'm just trying to greet you in the
Yes,
Chinese.
yes.
I mean, ni
Okay,
hao.
okay.
Yeah, that's what we see. So, and also a member of the executive committee of the SLC. I believe this impasse is going to affect, students, because students are the main focus. I think this is not the first time UTAC has been on strike. So last year they went and government called them for negotiation, and they reached a consensus. And I believe government has not actually been able to fulfill his part of the deal. And I think it justifies the UTAG strike currently. But we are pleading to the lecturers, because in the long run, it's students that are being affected. So we are pleading, and also to the government, because he's the main,
But the Fair Wages and Salaries Commission spoke yesterday, and they're saying that UTAG was even wrong to embark on this strike. And that's because last year, when they went on the strike, they had that deliberation and they agreed on a few things, and they were hoping to implement it. They didn't implement it, but at least, they deliberated with them again. And UTAG told them that, well, they'll get back to them on whatever issues it was. So they thought that at least because we agreed on something, you hold on, take a look at the reports that you asked us for, which we presented to you sometime early this year, so that we can deliberate again and see, instead of going on strike.
I believe there were timelines to that. So maybe the UTAC feel, they have not still been fair to them, because looking at the timeline they gave, and strikes are one of the method being used by civil societies to achieve their goal. So I believe, UTAC under no circumstance is wrong with this impasse.
So the National Union of Ghana students are saying that they agree and they back UTAG for this strike. You seem to be speaking the same language. I don't know if you're a member of NUCS, are you?
Well, I'm part of the International Relations Committee of, yes. Yes.
Okay, so then I guess that's why you're also, or do you all agree? So you're all siding with UTAG. I mean, even though you might lose out on lecture time and all that. You haven't spoken.
Not entirely.
Not entirely.
Yes, because
Okay, you hold on. Let him say something quickly.
Hi.
Hi. He told me he would say only hi. And you said hi. Is that what you want to say?
Oh, no, that's fine.
Okay, that's fine.
No.
Okay, carry on. So, do you agree with Nooks? Are you also siding with the lecturers?
Yes, because if you listen to you, it's like the government is sort of pretending to address their issues.
That's how you see it.
That's how you see it. Their issues have not been addressed. They keep on stalling. Come, we talk about it. Come, we talk about it. Then nothing happens. We talk about it. They give timelines. Nothing has been reached. It doesn't involve us. They just are here to teach us, but it's them. We are the ones suffering from this. We are being affected, right? It's going to cause a shift in the calendar. Timelines, like even a week can change things. Going off for a week can change things. For those who have very tight course outlines, they're going to take some things out, reduce lecture hours and stuff. We are going to suffer. So they should stop. They should sit down. They should sit down, deliberate on it, reach a consensus, come back and teach us.
What if nothing happens? How are you going to manage? Because that means that there's going to be a strike for quite a while. And I've heard the secretary of UTAC say that, well, even though there was even some increments to up to 7% of the public workers' salary, they still will not be deterred, and they're still embarking on the strike until government really listens to them.
The lecturers are here to teach us, right? They need to be passionate about their job. If they feel like their demands are not being met, even if they come to school teaching, we don't have that feeling from them. So we back them.
Are there some departments that have their lecturers coming in and out, at least in the meantime?
Yes, please. The law students. But I think they'll also side with their colleague lecturers, because their time or their lecture hours are being prolonged, the contact hours has been reduced. They have to have more engagement with them. So some of them have actually sacrificed, not that they are going astray of what the lecturers or UTAG is doing. Yes.
So there's some who are coming in for just a few minutes to teach quickly and then they go.
to give an overview of what the course is about, how they started, and all those things. Law is demanding, and then the medical students too. Already the country is lacking quality doctors and all those things. So if the lecturers in the various departments, such as law and then medical or the health sciences, are helping in that regard, I think it's in a sense in the right direction.
So, acting president, what's going to happen now? Have you, at least the students union, tried to reach out to your lecturers to see if you can at least agree on something, if not full-time lectures? Because it starts officially next week. You don't know your fate. Have you tried to speak to them?
Well, I've spoken to some lecturers, but it seems they don't want to give in because we are not the ones supposed to pay them. It is government that's supposed to pay them. So if anyone is supposed to call them to the table, it should be government and not us. So they are saying that they are willing to help us, they are willing to teach us, but government needs to do its part of their deal.
But you have paid your school fees. You've paid your hall, hostel fees, all of that. So then there's a problem because at least you have held on to your side of the bargain. If lecturers and the government have their issue, it shouldn't ideally affect you because then you don't get your money back. Do you realize that?
Yeah, we do realize that. So we've tried in our little ways to also convince our lecturers, but they are still not giving in. So please, we call on government to also do its part of it. Yeah.
You know exactly what the lecturers are asking for. Are you privy to the information in their statement as to what they really need?
It boils down to increments of their salary, and that is the baseline, so the condition of service. So if that is what they are demanding, I think then the government should at least have a roundtable discussion with them and then give them what is due them.
So in the meantime, the level hundreds, have you interacted with them, SRC President?
Yes, I have.
How do they feel about all of this?
They are stranded. As Abraham said, this is their first week on campus, and then they are welcomed by a strike, and it's not really a nice thing. Some of them have not even come to campus. So as I said earlier, turnout is really low for the rescue team.
Let's talk about accommodation because that's also another headache that, students here face. And it's not just here. KNUST, UDS, at least UDS, we spoke to our correspondent and he said it's not as bad. But here, was it Friday? Was it Friday? Last week Friday, right? That's when, last Wednesday. I mean, what's going on? Did you get a hall?
Yeah, I'm a resident already. Yeah.
You're a resident already. So this was for the level hundreds. It happened the year before. We talked about this in the media over and over again. And we're told that there were some issues with land acquisition, which is why, there was a delay in putting up some of these extra hostels for students. But then government was going to do its best to reach at least a point where they can provide accommodation for as many students as possible. As SRC, what kind of deliberation did you have with management of the university to see what can be done for all these stranded students?
Okay, so I had a lot of students contacting me, calling me here and there. Hello, Madam President, please, I want a place to stay. I want a room and all of that. And this is something that is actually beyond the SRC. I cannot do much about it. So what I did with my team was that I instructed them to go to places around the University of Ghana, that is Okponglo, Shiashi, Baoleshi, UPSC, and even Medina, to look for hostels that are around and also negotiate with them. To negotiate with them, and they are all my team members. Yeah, to negotiate with them in order to reduce the prices, to accommodate them in the meantime while we work on the infrastructure on campus. Because if we don't set up or if we don't build the SRC hostel, we are still going to face this issue time and time again. Yes.
And so were they able to afford? Because that's also the other thing. You can negotiate, but if the owners of these hostels outside campus decide to still charge at exorbitant prices, then there's nothing you can do about it.
Well, yeah, we came to a subsidized fee, but it was still more expensive than the hostels we have on campus here.
There were still people who could not afford.
Yeah, there were still people who could not
What
afford.
happened to those people then? How were they managing? Were they patching? I know patching is a thing. I mean, yeah.
It's very illegal and
It's illegal, I know that, but we know it happens.
strong reservation on that. So I think some of them have no option than to commute from wherever they are coming from to campus, and it's very tiring. It's very tiring.
Expensive, even more expensive.
Exactly. So right now we just want to, use Madam President's office to actually talk to management so as to increase accommodation facilities on campus. Because exactly.
They should start that project. Okay, how long has it stalled?
There has been some back and forth on that. I think yes, since Combat's administration. Yes.
How long ago was that?
somewhere 2007 or 8, and we are now in 2020.
What was the challenge with that?
It's a long story. I think it had to do with land and acquisition, even the contractors, and a whole lot, a whole lot, a whole lot.
So that land is fallow at the moment. It's bare.
It's bare. Nothing has
Where
been done.
exactly is it? Where is it located?
It's somewhere at Pent, Ivandi TF. Yeah, that's
In event and Pent.
And nothing has happened so far. So right now, as we're standing there, level 100 students who were turned back because they didn't have any. What has happened to them?
Well, that's their own decision. Some will decide to pitch, which is illegal. Other people too will resort to the accommodation off campus here.
We were trying to negotiate with some of the landlords to convert some of their 2-bedroom self-contained, 3-bedroom self-contained into hostels. But their challenge was we are now going to buy mattresses, we are now going to buy beds and fix it, and that is going to cost us. So if the students are willing to bring in all these things, then we accept the offer. But if they are not, that means we are just giving it out straight to people who are willing to pay the exact amount for 2-bedroom self-contained.
So at the moment, how many beds do we have on campus for all students in total?
each hall has its own quantity that you can take. And even with the off-site accommodation that Madam President rightly said, there are issues with it because management has its standard in terms of security, in terms of, amenities are available in such facilities. So it's all challenges that, we have to talk about. So some are available, but yet it doesn't meet the standard that the university requires. So it becomes, non-usable.
How many level 100 students showed up? Rescue team, I'm sure you have your numbers, I hope.
For yesterday, about 400 people showed up for the rescue team. But as it stands now, the turnout is very low because yesterday they came knowing it's the first day they are supposed to, do their registration and manual registration and all that. But today they heard in the news that it's strike and all those things. So the turnout, you can see, yesterday here was very occupied. But
Oh, so yesterday this place was choked.
yeah, this place was very choked. But today, you see the
How many level 100 students actually got into the halls and the hostels, got access to beds?
I think they gave slots to over 500 people, and depending on the number of students in the hall, Sabah like this have about 1,800 students. So about 500 new level 100s applied for, and they got Sabah. And then the various halls to Commonwealth Hall, depending on the number, a few.
But at least for Sabah, 500 of them, level 100, have accommodation. Out of how many that's tried?
Out of about 1,800 students.
When you say students plus continuing students,
Continuing students. So each level will also have about the same number, the percentage.
60% was reserved for the level 100s, 20% for continuous students, that is 200s only, and 10% for 300, and then 10% for level 400.
Those who weren't having accommodation at all. So there are people who are residents, permanent residents, and these are new students who are coming in.
So what the university did was, those who got accommodation in 2018, 2019 were maintained as permanent residents. And those who got 2020, 2021 during the modular system, i.e. the COVID era, were made to reapply again. Because initially those beds had permanent residents. Because of the modular, each bed had two users. So they had to give it back to whoever it belongs to. Exactly. Yes.
and there were two people.
It's with the level 200s because last year we came in as level 100s when we started the modular system. So meaning all the level 200s were being removed from the system to apply again. So a lot of the level 200s are not having.
Did you get?
Myself, I got.
Because you're an executive.
Not really.
People are cheating the regular.
Oh, nah, I applied and I got.
You applied it.
I went through the same process, just online
So you
process.
don't have to pay any rent. People are not selling their beds for, some ridiculous amount.
None of that.
All right. President, finally from you. You haven't said much though. You have a bed as well,
Yes, I have.
so you're fine.
I'm okay, but other students too, they are suffering.
Okay. Give a word to management again on TV and to government so they can resolve this issue for you once and for all.
All right, so I like to say that I think with this particular period, everyone knows what's going on in UG. you just name is all over because of the accommodation crisis we have now. Yeah, so we call on government and management to also come to an agreement or something, and also help us with our accommodation problems on campus. But for the meantime, we as executives are doing our part to look for accommodation of campus for the students. So they should also do their part in making sure that this time, with the 64th administration, they are going to make sure that the SLC hostel will be built here.
All right. Thank you so much for speaking to us, ladies. Thank you very much. Your Women's Commissioner is here for Sabah Hall, by the way. Hi, just join us briefly. So we're just talking about the accommodation challenges. Women's Commissioner, do you have the figures as to how many of your ladies on campus have gained admission into the halls as against those who have not? You don't
No,
have those
no,
details
not
yet.
yet.
Okay.
Yes, please.
But what would you also say to government and to your administration? Because a lot of them are stranded.
Yes, please. At the moment, most of the ladies are vulnerable. They have been taken advantage of. Just today, a lady who used to be my next roommate was like she's been duped, and then it became a police case.
When you say duped, in what sense?
She had a hostel off campus, and then not knowing the same room she paid for, a lot of people had paid for it. And then when she went packing, another lady with her parents came in and they were like, they've paid for that room. And then it became a police case and all. So the whole of yesterday, they wasted her time. Her money hasn't been refunded and she's stranded. So she called my sister and I to ask if we could be of any help to her. And we're like, oh no, right now, our hands are tied. We can't help everybody. I'm even emotional seeing this. It's sad though. It's very sad. Like she was in tears and all that. But then we are trying as much as possible to help. If there's any help we can. Nado is here. She would help. We are all up. But then we can't do everything. So we are pleading on management and then everybody to help. Thank you. Yes,
So she's
please.
looking for the women. Would you speak for the men?
Oh yeah, possibly.
Yeah, the academic committee one.
I'm leading the rescue team.
Oh, you're
for-
leading the rescue team. Okay, how's it going so far?
It's been good. It's been good, yeah, and very productive as well.
Okay, but then at least the majority of the people that you're rescuing don't even have beds to sleep on.
Sadly.
Yes. So when they come to you, I'm sure they share some of their concerns with you.
Oh yeah, they do. So we're also trying to look into off-campus accommodation and then link it to them so they could apply, stay there for a year to probably figure out what they can do in the next academic years.
What if they cannot afford outside, hostels?
We've been lucky to have flexible terms of payment. So some are taking the money per semester. And in the price, there are ranges. We have from 1,000 to 2,500 to 3,000. So depending on your budget, you go in for something. At this point, I think we can't force finances on people, but we should try, since that is the only option available. Assuming you are from Takrade and there's no place to sleep, we have students who even want to defer and come to school the following year because they cannot find a place to sleep on campus. So at this point,
But what's the guarantee that they'll even get a bed the next year? That means they'll keep deferring until they get a bed.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not their fault. It's the best decision they can make at the moment. It's difficult. How much is it on campus to pay for? I know it's like rounded up with your fees, right? But usually, how much is hostel?
For the traditional halls, they are paying 427 per semester, and they've privatized some of our annexes. So you add, I think, 200 cities to it to pay for the semester. I think that is good enough. But for diaspora, they are paying somewhere 1,490 for a
So
semester.
it's not too far from people who might get accommodation outside campus.
The hostels available, not too far.
Okay. All right. Thank you for speaking to us. Thank you so much. I'm very grateful. And I wish you all the best. Yeah? All right. So we've been speaking to students here at the University of Ghana on two issues that are of prime importance to all of us. First of all is the issue of UTAG and the strike. It's day 2 of the strike, and these students are saying that, well, they're hoping that governments can at least heed to the calls of the University Teachers Association of Ghana and, give in to their demands so that they can return to the classrooms and teach them. That's not the only problem. We also saw the accommodation crisis that occurred, and this won't be the first time that it's happening. We're back again, another semester, another year of accommodation crisis, and we're not even sure when we're going to resolve this issue. But we do hope that something can be done as soon as possible so that students can focus on their education and not have to now grapple with accommodation, lectures, and all those other things. That should ideally not be their headache, but the headaches of other people who have been put in various positions to handle. That's it for TV3 New Day. My name is Barry Mundi.